Hey, the Silent Hill 2 remake got some gameplay footage shown off. What's that look like? Oh, got it. Not touching this until it finally drops in October. As luck would have it, I got another survival horror game to cover and give my first or second impressions. Hollowbody is an upcoming survival horror game developed by Headwear Games. You play as Mika, an investigator investigating the whereabouts of her buddy Sasha. After reenacting that one scene in Blade Runner 2049, she finds herself in the middle of the ruins of a British suburb. Before she can make heads or tails of her situation, Mika needs to reach the highest point in the area to make contact with HQ, which means climbing to the top of the nearby apartment building. So, this isn't my first time playing this game. It got a demo a few months back along with Crow Country, and I'd planned on doing a double feature with both of them, but scrapped that project. What you see in the demo now has already been implemented in the previous version, but there were still a few things I was lukewarm over, and I thought it best to let the game stew for a few more months before coming back to its next public build. This new version lets you toggle between tank controls and 3D movement, which everyone had been clamoring for, me included. Also, I don't have footage of the older build anymore, but I think the melee combat's been tightened up now, so it doesn't feel as unwieldy as the first time I played it. But yeah, Hollowbody is a survival horror game for old heads of the genre. Mostly static cameras that switch when you hit area triggers or approach points of interest, item hunting, puzzle solving, and combat. Fidelity-wise, it's going for the PS2 era look, specifically Silent Hill 2, with a subdued color palette and hazy exteriors. But the futuristic setting allows for the slick UI you'd see from the pre-remake Resident Evils. Press triangle to go into the menu. You have 4 options to choose from, and the main screen will show you the map of the area you're currently in, as well as your health, in a very familiar type of color-coded electrocardiogram. Ooh, that's a hard word to say. The item screen shows you all the stuff you've picked up along the way. Weapons are mixed in with restoratives and key items. You can hover over each item to watch it rotate in 3D and inspect it to get some flavor text. Despite having it as an action, the demo doesn't require you to combine any key items to progress. The map screen will show you an isometric 3D blockout of the current area, and updates itself to show you which doors are inaccessible to you. I'd advise not looking at the map unless you're completely lost, as it can spoil you slightly on upcoming areas. The doc screen will show you all the documents you picked up, and either provide you with a clean transcription of their contents, or a summary of the contents along with some flavor text. If you've played an old survival horror game, then movement will feel natural to you. Move Mika around with your preferred method of control, and hold square to sprint. If you've got tank controls enabled, you can quick turn by flicking up with the right stick. If you don't have tank controls enabled, then you don't have to worry about managing both sticks as the camera automatically tracks Mika, so that it's always positioned behind her. This always annoyed me, which is a major reason for why I held off on covering the game until tank controls were implemented, as I don't like it when a game with fully 3D movement won't let me control where I'm looking at. When you approach corpses in the field, your UI will display various metrics tied to that body. Typically, it's all for atmosphere, but there might be a few Snapple facts that you'll have to pay attention to for some puzzles. Sometimes, you reach a spot that will react to your Kotak. This is supposed to be a communication device you use to contact HQ, but it also picks up old transmissions, which is the game's conceit for having you witness little stories about the people that used to live in the area. It's all done through text and voiceover, and I like the shift in storytelling. It adds to the atmosphere without the need of additional models or cinematics, like you're tuning into the middle of a radio drama. Combat is pretty straightforward, and almost feels like a refinement for the genre. Equip a melee weapon or your gun in the item screen. For melee, hold L2 to lock onto a target, and press R2 to attack. When the enemy goes down, Mika switches to her down attack to finish them off. Just pressing R2 without locking on will cause Mika to do her down attack. For guns, hold L2 to lock on and press R2 to fire the gun. If there's more than one enemy on screen, press R1 to switch between targets. If you run out of ammo, press L1 to reload. No need to go into the menus and take yourself out of the action. Melee combat is all about positioning. I don't think Mika can dodge attacks, so you'll have to work on flanking the enemy. As a rule of thumb, the hitbox for Mika and the enemy is always just a bit farther than it looks, so be careful if you see the enemy lunge. There is one major puzzle in the demo, and it stumped me the first time I played it. Don't take that as something negative towards a game, because it does a great job signposting all the clues you need to solve the puzzle. I'm just really dumb when it comes to games that require me to fire off any synapses. Without spoiling it, All the clues you need to solve the puzzle are within 2 to 3 screens of where the puzzle is located. After playing the demo a handful of times, I like it so far. Even though it's shooting for Silent Hill 2's visuals, it takes its cues from other games as well. Just like in the first Silent Hill, selecting an item to pick up will cause the object to disappear, and a higher detailed version of that object to superimpose on the screen to give the illusion that it's breaking past the fourth wall. It's hard to get a good frontal view of Mika's model when you're outside, as the camera is always trying to get behind her, but once you enter the apartment and get fixed angles, you can move her into the light and see that she's wearing Leon's iconic jacket. If you inspect the makeshift club, you'll see that it's made from a plank of wood and 9-inch nails. What I like about Hollowbody is that even though it's obviously a love letter to a certain type of survival horror, it's not trying to be a one-to-one facsimile of that game. I'm talking about Silent Hill 2, if you hadn't figured it out. Like, when you're in the hallways of the apartment, it passes a squint test. It looks like Silent Hill 2, and sounds like Silent Hill 2. Kudos to the sound design and ambient music, by the way. And I saw what you did with the save blocks layout game. You think you're so slick. But it's also reminding you that it's in the near future with the electronic locks on the doors and the video phones mounted on the walls of every unit. Hell, you can find Liberty Prime taking a nap outside. I apologize for that last joke. That can't be Liberty Prime, as this game is very clearly set in England. I showed this demo off to a friend who grew up there, and he was impressed with how it nailed the look of council estates. Yeah, this game is super British. Like, you have to press in the right stick to turn on Mika's torch, not flashlight. It's a minute detail, but I really appreciate how Mika has something new to say for each bathtub and sink you come across, despite the apartments all sharing the same floor plans. I hope that work carries over into later sections of the full release. Something else that got my attention was how navigating the menu while you're outside would result in raindrops hitting the screen, as if you're looking at a smartphone in the rain. If you're looking for a survival horror game like Silent Hill 2, but, you know, not just Silent Hill 2, then try out Hollowbody's demo and see if you vibe with it.